You scrape your leg on a rock. That's it. Not a bear attack, not a spear wound, not some dramatic battle against a predator, just a small cut. Today, you'd rinse it with clean water, maybe put on a bandage, and forget about it within a week. But 50,000 years ago, that same cut could kill you. Not immediately. A few days later, the skin turns red, then swollen, then hot. Pus begins to form. The infection spreads into your bloodstream. You develop a fever. You stop eating. You become weaker every day. And there is absolutely nothing anyone can do. No antibiotics, no hospitals, no emergency rooms, no doctors, no pharmacies. Just pain, fear, and waiting. Yet somehow, humans survived this way for hundreds of thousands of years. Your ancestors lived through injuries, infections, broken bones, diseases, childbirth, and brutal accidents without any of the medicine you depend on today. Which raises a fascinating question. How did ancient humans survive before medicine existed at all? The answer is far stranger than most people realize. Because for most of human history, the biggest threat wasn't predators, it wasn't starvation, and it wasn't even war. It was infection. A lion might kill one person. A disease could kill an entire group. Today, antibiotics make infections feel almost trivial. But before modern medicine, even a toothache could become a death sentence. A cavity could become infected. The infection could spread into the jaw, then into the bloodstream. And that was often the end. Archaeologists have found ancient skeletons with massive dental abscesses that would have caused unimaginable pain. Some of these individuals survived for years despite severe infections. Others didn't. Broken bones were another constant danger. Not because the break itself killed you, because of what happened afterward. A broken leg meant you couldn't hunt, couldn't gather food, couldn't keep up with the group, and if the bone pierced the skin, infection became a serious threat. Even childbirth was incredibly dangerous. For most of human history, giving birth was one of the most life-threatening things a woman could experience. A difficult labor, an infection, or excessive bleeding could turn a normal birth into a tragedy within hours. By modern standards, ancient humans should have died constantly, and many of them did. But not nearly enough to stop our species. Because humans discovered something extraordinary. Nature itself could become medicine. Long before pharmacies existed, people paid attention. They watched animals. They observed plants. They experimented. And over thousands of generations, they slowly built the world's first medical knowledge. One of the oldest medicines in human history was probably honey. Not because ancient humans understood bacteria, they didn't. But they noticed something. Wounds covered with honey often healed better. Today, we know why. Honey naturally kills many types of bacteria. Modern hospitals still use medical-grade honey to treat certain wounds. Thousands of years before science could explain it, humans were already using it. Then, there was willow bark. For centuries, people chewed willow bark to reduce pain and fever. What they couldn't know was that willow bark contains salicin, a chemical related to aspirin. The medicine sitting in your cabinet today has roots stretching back into prehistory. Ancient humans also used clay. Certain clays absorb toxins and bacteria. Some indigenous cultures used mud and clay treatments for wounds, insect bites, and skin infections. Again, they didn't know the chemistry. They only knew what worked. Generation after generation, trial after trial, failure after failure, until useful knowledge survived. Think about how remarkable that is. Imagine discovering medicine without science. No microscopes, no laboratories, no chemistry, just observation. Someone tries a plant. It works. Their children remember. Their grandchildren teach it to others. And eventually, the knowledge spreads. Human medicine began long before doctors. It began with storytelling, but perhaps the most surprising evidence comes from archaeology. Because ancient bones tell stories, and some of those stories shouldn't exist. In Shanidar Cave, Iraq, archaeologists discovered the remains of a Neanderthal man who lived roughly 50,000 years ago. His injuries were astonishing. One arm was severely damaged. He was blind in one eye. He suffered from significant arthritis. Yet, he lived for years. Think about that. A disabled individual surviving in an Ice Age environment, without modern medicine, without welfare systems, without hospitals. How? The answer is simple. Other humans kept him alive. They shared food, protected him, helped him survive. And Shanidar isn't unique. Archaeologists have discovered ancient humans with healed fractures and injuries that should have been fatal. Many survived for years afterward. Some lived decades, which reveals something profound about our species. Humans didn't survive because we were the strongest animals. We survived because we cared for each other. A lion with a broken leg dies. A wolf that can't hunt starves. But humans are different. We cooperate, we nurture, we protect, and those behaviors became one of the most powerful survival tools ever developed. In many ways, compassion was medicine. Imagine a hunter returning to camp with a shattered leg. He can't walk, he can't hunt, he can't contribute, yet his group feeds him anyway. Someone gathers extra food, someone tends the fire, someone helps clean wounds, someone carries water. The entire group becomes a support system, and because of that support, he survives. This behavior appears again and again throughout human history. Long before medicine saved people, communities did. But caring for each other wasn't enough. Humans also became masters of prevention. Ancient people quickly learned which water sources made people sick, which foods spoiled fastest, which seasons brought disease, which animals carried danger. Many traditional practices that seem strange today were actually early forms of public health, keeping waste away from camp, burning certain plants, using smoke to repel insects, boiling liquids, separating spoiled food. None of these people understood germs, yet many of their habits accidentally reduced disease. Knowledge accumulated slowly. A lesson learned by one generation became a rule for the next, and over thousands of years, human survival improved. Then, something changed. About 10,000 years ago, agriculture arrived. At first, farming sounds like progress. More food, permanent settlements, growing populations, but it also created entirely new health problems. People began living closer together. Waste accumulated. Animals lived near humans. Diseases spread more easily. Some historians call agriculture humanity's greatest success. Others call it humanity's greatest trade-off, because while farming helped civilization grow, it also exposed humans to epidemics on a scale hunter-gatherers rarely experienced. For the first time, disease could spread through entire communities, and medicine suddenly became more important than ever. Yet even then, real medicine remained centuries away. Most treatments were still based on observation, tradition, and hope. It wasn't until relatively recently that humanity truly understood what was making people sick. The germ theory of disease only became widely accepted in the 19th century. Antibiotics arrived in the 20th. For almost all of human history, nobody knew bacteria even existed, which makes our survival seem almost impossible. And yet, here you are. Every ancestor in your family tree survived long enough to pass life forward. Every injury, every illness, every winter, every infection. Somehow they made it through. Not because they had advanced medicine, because they adapted, they learned, they shared knowledge, and they cared for one another. Modern medicine is one of humanity's greatest achievements. It saves millions of lives every year. But the foundation of survival was built long before hospitals existed. It was built around campfires, inside caves, in small groups of people who refused to abandon one another. And that's the part most people forget. Medicine didn't create human cooperation. Human cooperation created medicine. Long before doctors saved humans, humans saved humans. And that may be the greatest medical breakthrough our species ever made.